Hey everyone, it's Marcus, the author of Unbroken, Walking on New Ground. This is the 11th video in the series so far in regards to the contents of Unbroken, Walking on New Ground. Today I'm going to talk about something that was very powerful in the book, and that's the fine line between life and death. Without any spoiler alerts, I will say that a big part of this book is about the day of my incident that changed my life forever. On that day, I feel I had two near death experiences. Now, I don't know what the actual dictionary description or whatever Wikipedia of a near death. Some people say that your heart has to stop, and and then you're presumed dead and then you come back. I would say that's your dead and came back experience. That's not near death. You were dead. That is death. In my opinion, if you came very close to dying, whether it be however, or you, like I, saw the or felt the end of my life coming, to me that's a near death experience. Like, it was intimate, so it was coming. I was going to die, and I happened to experience that twice in one day. I won't go over the first occasion where that happened. I will go over the second, and I don't want to give a bunch of spoiler alerts, but I found myself regaining consciousness face down in a creek. And let's start with that one. And the reality is, if I had landed in that creek, it was a 50-50 chance, a flip of the coin. If I had landed in that creek on my back, I wouldn't be in front of you here today. I absolutely would have died that day. I would have drowned unequivocally. It was just by God's grace and all that's divine in this universe that I landed face down. So once I regained my consciousness, I could pick my head. I had a helmet on. I don't want to give too much of the story away. And I was able to once I got my wind back, so the wind had been knocked out of me, once I regained my breath, I would pick my head out of the water and let the water drain from my helmet and take a deep breath of air and put my head back in the water and go about that process. And another thing too, if the shield, somewhere through what had happened, if my shield hadn't been dislodged from my helmet, I definitely would have not been able to continue fighting for my life, and I definitely would not be here in front of you. And as I stated in the past, each of my chapters starts off with a quote, ends with a quote. I like this one. Crisis does not create character, it reveals it. That's Seneca. And I think at that moment in my life, a lot of my character came into play. And I knew once I regained my ability to breathe that I was in serious trouble. I couldn't get myself out. I couldn't move my arms. I couldn't move anything. Luckily, I could move my neck and, navigate the water. And I knew that I was alone. I knew that no one knew that where I was. And after a little bit, it came to the reality. I came to the conclusion that I was going to die. Like, I couldn't not get myself out of the water. I was in a very bad predicament. I could not see any way out of it. And I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm a goner. Like, I am going to die for sure. And so it was ice cold water, and my body started going into hypothermia, and that was another problem. It was also very difficult to get my head out of the water far enough to take a breath and get that breath and then put my head back in the water and navigate that process. So, I did the math. Not that I'm a mathematician, but I'm like, this isn't looking good. I'm going to die. And at that point, I was facing death. And I did not want to cross over in a negative state. I wanted to die in a positive state of mind and not in a negative place. So, as I was fighting for my life or fighting to retain whatever time was left, I just really began to look at the blessings that had come before me. Um, I was born into a rich personality family, but not wealthy family, lower middle class. But I had amazing brothers, amazing sisters. My father was an epic guy. And I was trying to send them love because the way everything worked out at that particular time, I was going to be a missing person. That's what I was going to be. Like, no one knew where I was, no one knew what happened. I was just going to be that guy that disappeared. And in a later video, depending on how this goes, I will share how that event came about. So I just wanted to be in a state of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude as I was facing death. That way I felt once I crossed over that my spirit, my soul would be free to go wherever we go, whether it's the heaven, the oneness. I just didn't want to be trapped as a stick around ghost or soul in that spot. It wasn't good. I didn't want to be there. I knew time must come to an end, and I'm proud of myself that at that age of 25, I'm 55 now, that I had the wherewithal to think on that high of a vibrational level. And I was just preparing myself for death. And I was like, this is really arduous process. And I don't know how long it's going to last for, so I might as well just go ahead and end it. And so I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is just put my head in the water, and I'm going to just inhale a bunch of water and call it good. And I felt at peace with my life. I felt that I was in a good mental state, and now that was the final act. And every time I tried to do it, just life force, I guess, would cause me to pick my head up and take that air, and I'm like, whoa, I'm right at the very end, and I don't have any control. I cannot do this. And then bang, I picked my head out of the water and I got sat up, and I'm like, very, very intense. And then my rescuer was in front of me, and he was freaking out. This guy would not stop pointing behind me and telling me how far I flew. And I could see that I was wrecked. I know that I couldn't move anything, so I'm trying to tell this guy, like, thank you for finding me, but could you tell my family, because I still think I'm gonna, like, that's it. I'm like, even though I'm like out of the water, physically I'm not out of it, potentially, like, I don't know. I knew I was hurt, so I was trying to tell this guy, like, hey, tell my sisters, my brothers, my parents, that I love them, and I'm sorry that this happened. And he couldn't handle it. He was just like, Mister, you flew so far. And I'm like, I get it. I went through it. I know how far I flew. Like, I get it. Like, calm down, listen. And I'd pass out, I'd be like, and then I'd regain consciousness, sitting there mangled. And I would try to talk to him. He's still doing the same thing. He was in shock. This guy was in shock. He's like, you flew so, I'm like, bro, I get it. So obviously he thought I flew really far, which I did. And in another video, I'll go over that. So, I think that there is that fine line between life and death, and I rode that fine line. And I can look back and say that I'm proud of myself, that I stuck it out as far as I could. And then once I couldn't, God, life force, the light came through and helped guide me out of that moment to this moment. And I really hope that this book can help people out there who are facing challenges, who are going through their own challenges or struggles. And that's one of the reasons that I wrote it. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today, to help promote it and get it out there in the world. So If you've enjoyed this video or the other ones, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, like, share. So until the next time in the next video, thanks for watching, take care, and may you be well.